The wedding invitation arrived on the same day Avery discovered her business partner had been embezzling for 2 years, and both were signed by the man she'd loved since college. Marcus Chen, her best friend, her confidant, the person she'd built her entire company with, from a dorm room startup to a $50 million tech firm. The person who'd just stolen everything and was apparently marrying her college roommate in 3 weeks. Avery sat in her corner office, soon to be repossessed, staring at the cream-colored cardstock with its elegant script, and felt her world splinter into pieces so small she'd never find them all. Marcus Chen and Victoria Ashford request the honor of your presence asterisk. Victoria, sweet, bubbly Victoria who'd listened to Avery talk about Marcus for 4 years, who'd encouraged her to tell him how she felt, who said, "He's totally into you, just make a move." Except Avery never had. Too afraid of ruining the friendship, too convinced that Marcus saw her as a partner, not a possibility, too busy building an empire to notice he was planning to steal it. The forensic accountant's report sat beside the invitation. 2 years of siphoned funds, shell companies, offshore accounts, Marcus's signature on every transfer. $3 million gone. And with it her company, her reputation, her future. Her phone buzzed. "Marcus, can we talk?" Avery's hands shook as she typed back, "About the embezzlement or the wedding?" 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Then both, please, let me explain." She should call the police, should call her lawyer, should do anything except agree to meet the man who destroyed her. But Avery had spent 10 years loving Marcus Chen. And some part of her, the stupid, hopeful, devastated part, needed to hear him say it to her face. "My office, 1 hour." He arrived in 57 minutes. Still handsome in that careless way that had made her heart stutter since freshman year. Dark hair slightly too long, sharp jaw, eyes that used to look at her like she hung the moon. Now they just looked guilty. "Avery, did you do it?" Her voice was ice over broken glass. Marcus closed the door, stood there like a man facing execution. "Yes." The confirmation shouldn't have hurt. She'd seen the evidence, but hearing him admit it felt like being gutted. "Why?" "Because I was desperate." He moved closer and she held up a hand. "Don't." He stopped. "My father's company collapsed 3 years ago. He had debts I didn't know about, gambling, bad investments, people who don't accept payment plans." His voice cracked. "They threatened my mother, my sister, so I took the money to pay them off. You stole from me to save your family. I was going to pay it back." "With what? My company's bankrupt because of you." Avery's composure shattered. "I trusted you. I gave you access to everything. I built this with you and you destroyed it." "I know." "And Victoria, when did that happen? When were you planning to tell me you were marrying my friend?" Marcus's jaw clenched. "It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" "It's strategic." The words came out flat. "Her father owns Ashford Capital. He agreed to invest enough to save the company, to pay back what I took if I married her." Avery's world tilted. "You're marrying her for money." "I'm marrying her to fix what I broke, to save what we built." He looked at her with desperate eyes. "The company can survive this. The investment covers the debt, the expansion, everything. We just have to." "There is no we." Avery's voice was eerily calm. "You stole from me, lied to me, and now you're selling yourself to fix it like I should be grateful." "Avery, please. Get out." "If I don't marry her, her father pulls the investment. The company folds. Everything we worked for dies." Marcus stepped closer, and this time she didn't stop him. "I know I destroyed your trust. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I'm trying to save what we built. By marrying someone else. By doing what I have to." His voice dropped. "Even if it kills me." Something in his tone made Avery look up, really look. And she saw it. The shadows under his eyes, the weight in his shoulders, the way his hands shook slightly when he thought she wasn't watching. This wasn't a man celebrating his engagement. This was a man in a cage. "You don't love her," Avery said slowly. Marcus's silence was answer enough. "Then why?" "Because I love you too much to watch everything you built disappear because of my mistakes." The confession hung between them like lightning. "I've loved you since sophomore year, since you fell asleep on my shoulder during that terrible economics lecture, since you pitched our first investor and I realized you were the most brilliant person I'd ever met." His voice broke. "And I destroyed that. So marrying Victoria and saving the company is the only way I can make it right." Avery couldn't breathe. He loved her. He'd always loved her. And he was marrying someone else to protect what was hers. "That's the stupidest plan I've ever heard," she whispered. "It's the only plan I have." "What if I don't want you to save the company? What if I want you to?" She stopped. "Because what? Choose her. After he'd lied and stolen and broken everything." "To what?" Marcus moved closer, close enough that she could see the anguish in his eyes. "Tell me what you want, Avery, because I'll do anything. Anything except let you lose everything because I was too weak to find another way." What did she want? She wanted to hate him, wanted the betrayal to be simple, wanted to walk away clean. But standing this close to Marcus, seeing the love and guilt and desperation warring in his expression, Avery realized something terrifying. She still loved him too. "I want you to tell me the truth," she said. "All of it, no more lies." Marcus exhaled. "Okay." They sat, and he told her everything. The debts, the threats, the night men showed up at his mother's house with baseball bats and promises, how he'd taken the first transfer thinking it was temporary, how it spiraled into 2 years of covering tracks and hatting himself. How Victoria had found out. Her father ran background checks on everyone and offered the deal, marriage for investment, with the understanding it was purely business. "She knows I don't love her," Marcus said quietly. "She doesn't care, she wants the social status. I want the money, it's a transaction." "That's not a marriage." "No, but it's penance," he looked at her, "for what I did to you." Avery's chest ached. "You're an idiot." "I know. You should have told me, should have asked for help, should have trusted you." Marcus's smile was broken. "Instead I broke your trust. Ironic, right?" They sat in silence. Then Avery said, "What if there was another way?" "There is. What if I could get the investment without you marrying her?" Marcus stared. "How?" "Victoria's father wants legitimacy for his daughter, social status. What if I gave him something better?" Avery pulled out her phone, started typing. "My family's not billionaires, but we have connections, old money, society connections that matter. What if I introduced Victoria to those circles, made her the golden girl of tech philanthropy?" "Why would you do that?" "Because I'm not letting you marry someone else to fix your mistakes." She met his gaze. "And because I'm not giving up on us. Not yet." Hope flickered in Marcus's eyes. "Avery." "But," her voice hardened, "you work for it, you rebuild my trust, you prove that what we had was real, and if you ever lie to me again I walk, understood?" "Understood." Marcus's voice was rough with emotion. "I'll spend the rest of my life making this right." "You better," she stood. "Now let's go talk to Victoria's father." The meeting was brutal. Lawrence Ashford sat behind a mahogany desk that probably cost more than Avery's first car, and looked at them like they were interesting insects. "Let me get this straight," he said. "You want me to invest in a company that's bankrupt because my future son-in-law embezzled from it, and in exchange, his business partner, who should be pressing charges, is going to make my daughter a social darling?" "Yes," Avery said calmly. "Why would I take that deal?" "Because Victoria doesn't want to marry Marcus any more than he wants to marry her. She wants relevance. I can give her that. Real connections, not a purchased husband." Avery leaned forward. And because the company Marcus and I built is worth 10 times your investment, you'd be getting in on the ground floor of the next major tech platform. Lawrence studied her. You're either brilliant or insane. Both probably. His laugh was sharp. I like you, but I don't make deals based on liking people. He turned to Marcus. You stole to save your family, admirable in a criminal sort of way, but why should I trust you won't do it again? Because I'm signing over my shares to Avery, Marcus said. Majority control. She owns the company. I work for her. If I cross her again, she destroys me. Avery's heart stopped. Marcus. It's the only way. He looked at her. I need to prove I'm in this for the right reasons. Not money, not control, just us. The word hung in the air. Us. Lawrence Ashford watched them with calculating eyes. You two are either going to build an empire or destroy each other. Maybe both, Avery said. Good, Lawrence stood, extended his hand. You have a deal, but if this fails, I take everything. Understood? Understood. They shook. And as they left the office, Marcus grabbed Avery's hand. Thank you, he said roughly. Don't thank me yet. You have a lot to make up for. I know, he stopped, turned to face her. But I need you to know I meant what I said. I love you. I've always loved you, and I'll spend the rest of my life proving it. Avery's heart hammered. What if I can't forgive you? Then I'll live with that, but I'm not walking away, not ever again. He kissed her, soft, desperate, full of promises and apologies and 10 years of feelings finally unleashed. And Avery kissed him back. Because despite everything, the betrayal, the lies, the destruction, Marcus was the only person who'd ever truly seen her. The only person she'd ever truly loved. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Avery whispered, You break my heart again, I'll destroy you. Fair. I mean it. I know, Marcus smiled, broken, hopeful. Now what? Now we rebuild together. The next 3 months were hell. Restructuring the company, testifying about the embezzlement, Marcus pled guilty, got probation and community service, working 18-hour days to prove to investors they were worth the risk, and navigating their relationship. Some days were good. Marcus brought her coffee exactly how she liked it. They fell into old rhythms, finishing each other's sentences, laughing at inside jokes, building something stronger than before. Other days were brutal. Avery would remember the betrayal and shut down. Marcus would try too hard to fix things and make it worse. They fight, make up, fight again. But they kept showing up. Marcus gave her space when she needed it, pushed when she was being stubborn, proved with every action that he was in this, truly in this for her. And slowly, Avery felt the cracks in her trust begin to heal. 3 months after their deal with Ashford, the company launched its new platform. It exploded. 50 million users in the first week. Investment offers flooding in. The tech world calling them the next big thing. Avery stood on stage at the launch party, giving the keynote speech, and caught Marcus's eye in the crowd. He was watching her with so much pride and love that her chest ached. This was what they'd dreamed of in that dorm room 10 years ago. And they'd done it together. After the speeches, after the champagne and congratulations, Marcus found her on the balcony overlooking the city. You were incredible, he said. We were incredible. I'm serious. You saved this company, you saved me. He moved closer, and I need to tell you something. Avery's stomach clenched. What? Marcus pulled out a small box. Her heart stopped. This isn't a proposal, he said quickly. Not yet, not until you're ready, but I wanted you to have this. He opened the box. Inside was a ring, simple, elegant, with an inscription, Trust Rebuilt, Love Always. It's a promise, Marcus said, that I will spend every day earning your trust, that I'll never lie to you again, that I love you more than anything. His voice cracked. And that when you're ready, if you're ever ready, I'll be here, waiting. Tears burned Avery's eyes. You really hurt me, she whispered. I know. I don't know if I'll ever fully trust you again. I know that too. But, she took the ring, slipped it on her finger. I want to try, because despite everything, you're still the person I want beside me, the person who makes me better, the person I love. Marcus's eyes went bright. You love me. Unfortunately, she smiled through tears. I really tried not to, but apparently my heart's as stubborn as I am. He kissed her deep, desperate, like she was oxygen and he'd been drowning. And Avery kissed him back, because them was worth fighting for. Worth rebuilding. Worth believing in again. When they broke apart, Marcus pressed his forehead to hers. I'm going to make you so happy. You better. Is that a challenge? Always. His laugh was pure joy. I love you, Avery. I love you too, even when I don't want to. They stood on that balcony, the city glittering below them, and Avery realized. Betrayal had almost destroyed them. But it had also forced them to confront what they'd been too afraid to admit for 10 years. That they belonged together. That love, real love, wasn't about perfection. It was about showing up, fighting for each other, choosing each other even when it was hard. Especially when it was hard. 6 months later, Marcus proposed for real. Not at some fancy restaurant or public spectacle. In their office, at midnight, surrounded by code and coffee cups and the life they'd built together. Marry me, he said. Not because we have to, not because it's strategic, but because I can't imagine my life without you, because you make me better, because I want to spend the rest of my life earning your trust and your love. Avery looked at him, this man who'd broken her heart and then spent a year proving he could heal it. Yes, she said. Marcus's smile could have lit the city. Yes. Yes, but we're signing a prenup, and you're never touching the company finances unsupervised. Fair, he kissed her. Anything else? You have to promise me something. Anything. Promise me we'll always be honest, even when it hurts, even when it's hard. Promise me we'll never let fear keep us from the truth again. Marcus took her hands. I promise, no more secrets, no more lies, just us, always. Just us, Avery echoed. And as Marcus slipped the engagement ring onto her finger, the one he'd been carrying for 6 months, waiting for the right moment, Avery felt something shift. The last piece of her broken trust clicking back into place. They got married 6 months after that. Small ceremony, close friends. Victoria came, genuinely happy for them, newly engaged to a venture capitalist she'd actually fallen for. Lawrence Ashford gave Avery away, having become an unlikely mentor. And as Avery walked down the aisle toward Marcus, seeing the love and wonder in his eyes, she thought. They'd taken the longest, hardest road to get here. Through betrayal and lies and broken trust. Through anger and forgiveness and rebuilt foundations. But they'd made it. And somehow the struggle had made their love stronger, deeper, real in a way it never could have been if everything had been easy. I love you, Marcus said as they exchanged vows. I love you too, Avery replied, even when you're an idiot. Especially when I'm an idiot, he corrected. Their guests laughed. And as they kissed, as husband and wife, as partners, as two people who'd fought their way back to each other, Avery knew. This was her happily ever after. Not perfect, not easy, but real. And worth everything. 5 years later, Avery sat in their home office, watching Marcus play with their 3-year-old daughter while simultaneously debugging code. You're supposed to be on paternity leave, she called. I'm multitasking, he called back, tickling their daughter until she shrieked with laughter. Their company had gone public. They were billionaires now, though they still lived simply, still worked side by side, still chose each other every single day. Marcus caught her watching and smiled. That crooked, devastating smile that had stolen her heart in college and never given it back. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. "How lucky I am. Even after everything." "Especially after everything." Avery crossed to him, kissed him softly. "We wouldn't be here if you hadn't screwed up, and as terrible as that year was, it gave us this. Real, honest, unbreakable." Marcus pulled her close. "I'm the lucky one." "We both are." Their daughter squirmed between them. Gross, mommy and daddy kissing. They laughed. And Avery thought, this is it. This is everything. Not the money or the success or the empire they'd built. But this, the three of them together, happy, real. A family forged from betrayal and rebuilt on trust. The best revenge was living well. And the best love was the kind that survived the worst and came out stronger. Avery had both. And she'd never been happier. That night, after their daughter was asleep, Marcus found Avery on their balcony. "Remember when we stood on that balcony at the launch party?" he asked. "When you gave me the promise ring?" "Yeah," he wrapped his arms around her from behind. "I was terrified you'd say no. I was terrified I'd say yes. But you did. Best decision I ever made." She turned in his arms. "Second best was forgiving you." "What was first?" "Loving you in the first place," she smiled, "even when you didn't know it." Marcus kissed her forehead. "I always knew it. I was just too afraid to believe it. And now I believe it every single day." They stood there, the city glittering below them, exactly where they'd been 5 years ago. But everything had changed. They'd been broken and rebuilt, betrayed and forgiven, lost and found. And through it all, they'd chosen each other. Again and again and again. That was love. Not the absence of pain, but the choice to heal together. Not the absence of betrayal, but the strength to rebuild trust. Not perfection, but the courage to fight for something real. Avery and Marcus had that. And they'd keep choosing it. For the rest of their lives.